Life had always been a predictable reel, played over and over in simple loops. Mornings greeted me with the soft warmth of sunlight filtering through the crooked blinds of my small apartment, and evenings lulled me to sleep with the ambient rustle of city life outside. Routine was my compass, guiding me through the mundane labyrinth of days. The only real flicker of unpredictable joy had been Samson, my tabby cat and constant companion, until 2 months ago when, beneath the yawning oak in the backyard, I'd said my tearful goodbyes and buried him. His absence left an echoing void. The world felt dulled, as though the turn of days moved to a half-speed sluggishness, while my heart raced tirelessly into silence, seeking echoes of a purr that was no more. I trudged through my tasks, often grating against the edges of melancholy. Samson had been more than a pet. He was a piece of my fractured soul, patching me together where life had clawed and torn at me. Now every closed door, every empty room sang hollow, a reminder of what once was. It was an ordinary Friday when the equilibrium of my world tilted off its axis. Rain slicked the roads, a mirror of brilliant chaos beneath stormy skies. It was beautiful, amused, a fleeting respite of artistry in my repetitive world. I drove with the impatience of someone chasing the day's end, gripping the wheel with knuckles white under the exhaustion of monotony. And then the universe skewed. The turn I took was unsuspecting, a simple bend blurred by rain-soaked shadow, but my breath hitched as an oncoming cascade of headlights pierced the afternoon gloom. Time, as a construct, crumbled at that moment, stretching until the air itself seemed to shatter around me. A visceral instinct screamed to react, to veer away, yet my hands failed me, frozen with fear's icy grip. In the space between beats of my heart, I whispered a silent prayer, a plea into the cosmic void for something, anything to grasp onto. I closed my eyes, awaiting the inevitable crash, but instead of the violence and pain I anticipated, an unexpected tranquility enveloped me, like the delicate embrace of new fallen snow. When I opened my eyes, I was not where I expected to be. The world below had shrunk, becoming a diorama of chaos and scramble. I was suspended, weightless above it all, watching as the frenetic dance of emergency lights washed red and blue waves over the scene. My car, now a crumpled testament to mortality, lay hunched on the curb, a spectator to the frantic ballet of first responders. I beheld the scene with a surreal detachment, much as a child gazes upon a snow globe, turning it over, curious yet untouched by the drama within. My body was a distant spectacle, familiar yet foreign. In my bout with inevitability, I felt no fear, only a profound sense of release, as though my soul had shed the chains of corporeal confinement. Upward pulled by some intangible force, I ascended beyond the veils of human perception. The rain-swept streets and scattered cries softened into whispers, losing their edges before the enormity of an effulgent light. The air swirled with colors I'd never seen and scents that loomed on the edges of memory. Lavender fields in bloom, the warm, comforting aroma of Samson nestled in my lap. In those precious moments of transition, I realized I was crossing a threshold not into an end, but into a beginning. Before me stretched an expanse that defied dimensions, a tapestry of love and peace woven into the very essence of being. Twilight hues and dawn's first embrace seamlessly merged here, crafting a sanctuary suspended between time and eternity. I found my thoughts dissolving, replaced by a serene clarity, as the gentle currents of this realm swept me along truths I'd once felt utter but fleeting. A part of me understood on some primordial level that I stood at the precipice of epiphany. Here, language faltered and love became the lingua franca, timeless and pure. I reached out to this place that felt like a home I never knew I missed. A silent cry of yearning from a soul thirsting for its own missing pieces. The longing no longer owned me here. Completeness sang its melody, resonating through the fabric of my existence. It was then that Samson appeared, another traveler within this infinite expanse, full of vitality and grace. It was as if he had always been waiting at the horizon of my life and death, to accompany me further, to reveal paths unseen and secrets untold. His emergence etched a profound comfort on my spirit, a beacon of familiarity in the cosmic mystery that unfolded around me. And thus began my journey not towards an end, but deeper into the infinite embrace of love, led by an unexpected guide, my faithful Samson, across the borders of time, space, and understanding. Every detail of the moment before the crash was etched in peculiar clarity, as if my mind had decided to savor the familiar before relinquishing it all. The steering wheel was cold beneath my grasp, a stark contrast to the warmth blossoming from the heater vents, suffusing the car with the scent of leather and the lingering traces of Samson's favorite blanket. All this was swept away now, replaced by an overwhelming quiet that seemed to drown out the din of my own thoughts. Suspended above the scene of chaos, I felt like an interloper in my own life. The cacophony of sirens and murmur of rain on asphalt became distant, abstract. Around me, the world held its breath, the flashing lights no longer blinding, but rather casting a surreal play of colors that danced lazily across the tableau below, freezing mid-motion, painting a still life of urgency and dread. A part of me recognized this state, as though I had murmured poetry on this existential threshold before. I should have been terrified, a disembodied specter overlooking the fragility of my own mortal husk. Yet, instead, a profound peace traced its fingers across my consciousness. My fear, having had its moment of crescendo, now ebbed into the background, as unnoticed as a receded tide leaving sparkling sand exposed to the sun. Am I dying? The thought whispered through my mind, not in panic, but disbelief, a quiet query uttered to the unfathomable vastness. But rather than looming death, I felt a tender embrace, a lifting pull that cradled me past the tangible and into something akin to waking from a dream to find it was my life that had been a veil, obscuring truer realities. This place, if it was indeed a place, welcomed me like a long-lost traveler returning not to a destination, but to kin found in the soft, auroral light around which life had no more edges. Shapes and hues beyond known spectrums swirled around me, melding into impossible patterns that seemed to tell stories my heart understood even where words failed. An indescribable fragrance enveloped me, a myriad of blossoms, spring rain on warm earth, and something ineffably Samson, the comforting musk of fur that had always grounded me. Floating here, within this blissful tapestry, every insecurity I clung to dissipated, leaving only the unencumbered essence of myself, an atom of the divine, yet boundlessly expansive and connected. A voice without sound resonated through me, a call as old as creation itself, unfolding the universe's secrets in familiar harmonies. Love is all there is. This profound truth anchored me amidst the ethereal drift, guilt and grievances melting away before the all-pervasive forgiveness echoing throughout this celestial symphony. In this place, hierarchies of heart and soul converged, and as if summoned by the warmth of that harmony, Samson appeared, silky fur gleaming, eyes bright with the innocence and wisdom commonly ascribed to heaven-bound creatures. His presence redefined the last tender moments we'd shared, transcending forgotten goodbyes. One look from him, and the veil segregating us from understanding lifted, revealing trails of silvery light radiating outward, coursing back through memories where he had been my confidant, teacher, guardian. All that matters remains, Samson seemed to say, his essence communicating through a resonance that mingled with my soul, demystifying a realm where comprehension was instinctual. Together, we translated existence beyond spoken bounds, every worried human query quenched by the liquid serenity flowing in Samson's wake. With a joyful flick of his tail, Samson guided me deeper into the light, a beckoning messenger within this sacred interlude, to where an even brighter presence awaited. Not a figure discernible by man's eye, but a presence palpable in purity and holiness. Jesus, recognizable not by visage, but by an embrace of love that obliterated time and space. His essence interwove with everything I was, infusing clarity through my spirit. It was as though every quantum of love distilled itself through his being, reinvigorating fractured histories, not to learn, but to feel what had always pulsed unseen beneath human periphery. You are never alone. The understanding struck with a profound simplicity and terminated doubt's lease on my soul, reforming my existence within moments that enveloped none but encompassed all. The journey forward was mine, choice our divine gift, and connection eternal. My heart, now a vessel of renewed wonder, beat with purpose beyond the finite struggles that had once chased my waking trails. And with that revelation, Samson, the eternal herald of life and love, nudged me gently back, toward life, toward a world that awaited with sleepy eyes and hearts seeking their own revelations. His message clear: this love transcended mortality, an ever-present bond echoing into eternity's dawn. Floating in this nebulous expanse of serenity, I felt my formerly frail human constraints dissolving, replaced by an unfathomable spectrum of emotions that outshone anything my earthly senses had ever known. The horizon, if one could call it that, stretched endlessly, softened by a luminescence that eliminated shadows, both literally and metaphorically. Here, in this sacred intermission, space faded into a whisper, time lost its grip, and every wound in my soul began to heal in the tender glow. Despite the wonder of it all, a question flickered tentatively through my awareness. What makes a life worthwhile? This realm, infinitesimally close and yet infinitely distant from the bustling streets I'd left behind, welcomed epiphanies as naturally as dawn greets the waking world. My spirit stretched through the mosaic of light and sound, dissipating confusion into layers of pure understanding. Amidst this realm, Samson's shimmering form emerged, a feline angel woven into the cosmic fabric, yet radiating warmth and familiarity. His presence was a balm, easing the tangled threads of my consciousness. On earth, he had been a vessel of comfort and companionship. Here, he was luminous with an aura of infinite wisdom, a guide revealing truths without need for speech. I marveled at the unspoken conversation that unfolded between us, a dialogue of hearts, transcending everything I'd assumed about the universe. Every wag of his tail and steady gaze transferred volumes, unraveling mysteries I'd never sought answers for, their answers nonetheless precious. It was then that the scene shifted, the very fabric of this realm rippling like silken water at the drop of a pebble, bringing into focus a figure, more like a sensation than a shape, pure, radiant, and boundless. Jesus, not depicted as I had seen in countless artistic renderings, but rather felt, a tangible embodiment of compassion and infinite love stringing the seams of existence together with an ethereal thread. The encounter was transformative. The divine presence defied conventional reasons for disbelief. Like an intricate puzzle unlocked by a single key, the fragmented views of my past fit together under the gaze of this divine presence, forming an unexpected tapestry. Questions I hadn't even known my heart held ceased their restless fluttering as a wave of understanding washed over me. You are never alone. The essence of Jesus resonated through my being, not in auditory words, but in vibrations that reverberated from the core of my soul outward. The echo of these words painted assurance across the landscapes of my doubts, planting seeds of resolve where fear had once held sway. Even as I stood, teetering on this edge of forever, I grasped the simplicity yet profundity of the message, a truth so profound it left fingerprints upon my spirit. Each fiber of my existence was interlinked with the divine, tethered not by chains but by threads of love that bridged every isolated island of my life into a continent of possibility. Samson continued to thread through the sanctuary, illuminating the path with a grace undistorted by earthly limitations. As if extending a paw to gently nudge my consciousness, he bid me to follow, spiraling inwards to the conviction that there was more, beautiful and boundless more, a perspective that shimmered just beyond the horizon. And then Samson paused, leaving me bathed in the illumination of realization. His purpose transcended the companionship I cherished. He had been a bearer of the greater love, a living emblem of the interconnectedness that bound all creations. This unity, stronger than the constraints of flesh and bone, was the essence that would transcend demise, bridge creation with the infinite, and bind mortality to the infinite pulse of eternity. The moment lingered, suspended within dimensions where eternity and instance convened, before the gentle nudge to return pulled at me, a reminder that my journey was not yet done, that living out these revelations was my next chapter. Samson's eyes shimmered with the understanding that our goodbye was not a finality, but a promise, a continuity of souls destined to converge in the expanse of the ever after. This parting was bittersweet, yet enriched by certainty, a promise carried aloft by a love that time and space could not diminish. With warmth and eternal resonance, I was nudged back toward the embrace of the tangible world, with dreams of starlit journeys and whispered promises that love endures, untouched by the passage of time or the silence of endings. Reeling from the cosmic revelations, I lingered in this realm of the infinite, a kaleidoscope of existence where the boundaries between self and the universe dissolved. The sensation was akin to being a single note within a symphony, unaware of the melody's grandeur until I experienced its collective magnificence. As the notes of this celestial music whispered through my being, a quiet determination wove itself into the very fabric of my soul, a seed planted, awaiting its moment to bloom. Yet, within the harmony, I sensed a subtle shift, as if the universe was holding its breath, and the inevitable pull of reality began to assert its gentle insistence. Anxious whispers of resistance played through me, clinging to the radiance and the solace of this perfect completeness. No, my soul echoed into the vast expanse, as if protesting my imminent departure, a silent plea for just a moment longer in this sacred beyond where love and understanding formed the cornerstone of being. I watched Samson, my ethereal guide, his gentle eyes brimming with compassion, urging me not with force but with a soft knowing, an understanding that there were chapters left unwritten in the world I had paused from. Gradually, as Samson's form grew more luminescent, almost translucent, I felt his love envelop me in a warm embrace, communicating volumes amidst unspoken stillness. Remember, his essence seemed to implore, never forget how this felt, how interconnected we are, past the veil of life and death, in this endless tapestry woven with threads of love. Every fiber of my existence hummed with the divine resonance of Jesus' presence, an unyielding stream of infinite compassion, anchor and guide to this transformative odyssey. Your journey continues, not alone but enriched, the Spirit of Jesus imparted, not in words, but in sacred vibrations echoing through the very marrow of my existence. Suspended between two worlds, I felt the threads of consciousness pulling me back down, through layers of dense reality, each a shade darker than the one above, yet somehow richer with life. Like a leaf descending from the pristine heavens, gravity escorted me back to the body that lay below, a marionette poised under the patient gaze of those human angels in blue scrubs, tirelessly willing me back to life. Breath. My lungs caught fire as they drew in the first gasp of sterile hospital air. The world around me emerged from blurry silhouettes into stark, focused reality. The ceiling tiles stared back, clinical and bland, a significant contrast from the heavenly terrain I had traversed. My heart, a captive bird just released, fluttered in my chest, reaching an erratic rhythm that clarified the boundary between mortality and the ethereal adventure I just returned from. Lying in a hospital bed, every inch of my body ached with a memory of impact, yet my mind soared with the visions of grace I had beheld. Nurses, faces lined with concern, leaped into action as they detected my awareness returning. Their chatter was a distant murmur under the symphony of my own renewed heartbeat, a testament that time here, unlike the celestial infinity, still dictated the pace. As the days stretched into recovery, I carried the burden of enlightenment alongside physical healing, a dual path fraught with solitude. My every attempt to articulate the experience met with skepticism, walls of doubt to scale. I had danced on the border of life and beyond, received grace and whispers of eternity, yet translating such profound encounters into words seemed an exercise in futility. It wasn't frustration, though, that colored these interactions. It was an understanding that faith was personal and my truth was mine to live. Yet, amidst the world's bewilderment, I found Samson lingering in moments of quiet reflection, his legacy transcending the physical form he'd once held, his wisdom forever etched upon my heart. Gone was the aimlessness, replaced instead by the luminous trail of purpose revealed during my interlude with the divine. So, in this life reclaimed, I set out to embody the teachings of my cosmic journey, not through proclamation, but through action, nurturing the unseen connections binding us all. Each small act of kindness, every gentle embrace of a soul in need, reverberated with a message imparted by my ethereal companions. Indeed, this knowledge became not just a part of my existence, but the essence of hope, one that reminded me in whispers, love endures, bridging realms, and forever illuminating the horizon.